lai, yai la lai lai la lai lai. We come from a tale told long ago, passed on by the waves and the wind. We made it this far together, you know. Come brothers and sisters, let's sing. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. 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 So come gather round and hear the song. If you're the wandering kind, you can make it alone, but just so you know, we leave no one behind. Our mothers and fathers who weathered the storms grew strong through the trials of their times. So we brothers and sisters, door by door, carry on with this song in our lives. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. 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 We'll sing out this song for years to come, in a story without an end. For how good it is to be among our brothers and sisters and friends.
Shabbat Shalom. It is a beautiful time to bring in Shabbat. Another week has come and gone, and we have the gift of Shabbat, the gift that pushes us to take even just a moment to calm, to breathe, to rest, to reflect, all of these beautiful things that we so need in our world. Shabbat is here to offer it to us. And this week we aren't only celebrating Shabbat, but we are also marking Jewish Disability Awareness and Inclusion Month, which we're marking this Shabbat with Jewish Disability Awareness and Inclusion Shabbat. So we'll be talking about that later together. It's so incredibly important to our communities. And so we want to bring in the light of Shabbat all together. If you're coming in just now on Facebook, say Shabbat Shalom to everyone coming in. If you want to light candles with us at home, or if you want these candles to be your candles, whatever feels good to you, we're going to bring that Shabbat light in together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue welcoming Shabbat into our world, welcoming that energy and the positivity and finding something new in our week with Shalom Aleichem. The traditional words are on page 142. We're going to sing a little less of a traditional version, which I know I absolutely love. I love when Dan sings it. To me, it feels like Shabbat, and it's about calling Shabbat in, bringing Shabbat in, letting it flow over us, which isn't necessarily what's inherent in our world, but if we just tried this much, right, what would it feel like to really welcome this into our being this week? So we're going to do that with Shalom Aleichem.
Calling all angels, welcome angels, come and guide us home. Together we will walk on this winding road. Calling all angels, welcome angels, come and guide us home. Together we will walk on this winding road. Shalom Alechem, Malachei Sharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Malachei Sharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Take a deep breath.
Baruch Hu Milu Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Milu Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Calling all angels, welcome angels, come and guide us home. Together we will walk on this winding road. Calling all angels, welcome angels, come and guide us home. Together we will walk on this winding road. Zetchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Zetchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu.
I love that. As we prepare for Chadodi, this continuation of welcoming Shabbat, thinking about what our bodies are doing. I recently got a Peloton bike, the exercise bike, and so they yell at you all the time. Your shoulders are in your ears. And so I've been really conscious about that this week. And I know this sounds sort of new agey, or it sounds like this new system, but it's not. The way we hold our bodies changes how receptive we are to things. Where are you sitting? Are your shoulders up in your ears? That doesn't help you bring in Shabbat. It helps you bring in Shabbat when you roll them down. If you're sitting with your hands in a fist, with your fingers interlaced, something like this, what if you opened them? Just let them sit on your lap open. It changes the way you receive the world. And it sounds goofy, perhaps, but it's real. And so how could we find a new physical position as we head into the Chadodi, one that makes us more open to our prayers, more open to getting something out of our Shabbat experience tonight as I lace my fingers. It's not a permanent thing. You can move around. You know, I like to talk with my hands. But how could we open ourselves physically and emotionally to more out of our Shabbat experience? As we turn to page 138, we sing the Chadodi in a melody that's meant to soothe us and bring us into Shabbat and welcome the Shabbat bride with a sense of calm in a crazy, crazy, crazy world. The Chadodi is page 138.
Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mikabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Kabbalah. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmianu El Hamyuchan Adonai echad U'shemo echad L'shemu tiferet Ve'li tila Lecha dodi Likrat kala Penei Shabbat Kabbalah Lecha dodi Likrat kala Penei Shabbat Kabbalah Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha Ki hi mekor habracha Merosh mekedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh B'machshava techila Lecha dodi Likrat kala Penei Shabbat Kabbalah Lecha dodi Likrat kala Penei Shabbat Kabbalah.
Verse 5, Hitorari, awaken.
Hitorari, Hitorari, Kiva orech, Kumi uri, Uri uri, Shir daberi, Kevod Adonai, Alaich nigla, Lecha dodi, Likrat kala, Penei Shabbat, Kabbalah, Lecha dodi, Likrat kala, Penei Shabbat, Kabbalah.
We rise, face the door, face wherever you come into the space that you're in. If you're in your kitchen, face how you got there. If you're sitting on your couch, rise if you're able, or lift yourself spiritually and direct your energy to where you came from. Look at how far we've already come in our prayers tonight, and think about how much farther we have to go, how much more we have to find in our Shabbat experience as we greet the Shabbat Kala, we greet the Shabbat bride.
Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala Gam b'simcha u'b'tzola Toch emunei am segula Boi chala Boi chala Lecha dodi Likrat kala Penei Shabbat Kabbalah Lecha dodi Likrat kala Penei Shabbat Kabbalah.
Page 144, Dan's going to chant the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadash v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah
Amen.
Be'alma divrach hirotei B'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon v'yomechon U'chayei dekol Beit Yisrael Bagala Bagala Uvizman kari vimeru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam ulal me'al maya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekurusha b'reichu Leilan min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata benechemata damiran be'alma vimeru. Amen.
Page 146, we rise if you are able. As we continue to invite more into our Friday evening, the Baruch Hu, we call it our call to worship. It's really not so much of a call. We've already sort of heard the call. We've begun to pray together. It's a reminder to keep hearing it. And this is where we check in with each other. The initial intention is that the prayer leader calls out, the community responds, and the prayer leader responds back, saying, I hear you, I see you, let's keep going together. So we rise on page 146.
Yai lai lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai lai, ya lai lai lai. Yai lai lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai lai, ya lai lai lai. Ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai lai lai. Ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai lai lai. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai lai, ya lai lai lai.
We offer gratitude that evening comes on. This beautiful certainty that no matter how crazy the world gets, whatever's happening, we know the sun will set, it'll get dark, the moon will rise, and in the morning, the sun will rise. There's this beautiful rhythm to our world that when everything else feels out of sync and out of kilter and out of control, we can rely on this. We can rely on that meter, on that rhythm to balance our lives and to structure our lives. So we offer a prayer on the top of page 149. Say, praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch ata Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Page 150, we sing Ahavat Olam, which I think Dan taught about this week in my new favorite program because it's called Shir Premier. Shir is a song, and I think that's the best title ever. So Dan taught us a bit about this song this week, this prayer, which speaks about Torah, the fact that we have Torah, both what's in there and the rest of it. What an expression of God's love that we have this thing that can challenge us and push us and comfort us all at once. So we sing Ahavat Olam on page 150.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Avta Amcha Avta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadeta, otanu lemadeta. Al kin Adonai Eloheinu b'shol Eloheinu ukumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla nege yomam v'layla ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Ohev Amo Yisrael
Shema's on page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam
Please be seated if you're standing as we turn to page 154 and chant the V'ahavta together.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzabecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvletecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha Uchtabtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiyot lachem l'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Amen.
Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. We sing that song, page 158.
Lai lai ya la 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 lai lai ya la 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 lai lai ya la 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 lai lai ya la lai lai ya la 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 lai lai ya la 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 lai lai ya la 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 lai mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh nora tehilot osei felech nora tehilot osei felech. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Malchutecha ra'u vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam ze Eli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Your children witnessed your sovereignty, the sea splitting before Moses and Miriam. This is our God, they cried. Adonai will reign forever and ever. So it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Page 160, we, even just for a moment, look for the comfort of feeling safe and secure. There are all different things that can help us feel that way. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a place, maybe it's a certain blanket sitting on your couch that when you wrap yourself in it, you feel comforted, you feel loved, you feel safe, you feel secure. Whatever it is, whatever might help us bring us there, Hashkivenu is really meant to be the companion. Help us feel that sense of safety and security when I know, everything gets worse at night, right? If your leg is hurting you, it's going to hurt you worse at night. If you're feeling anxious, you're going to be more anxious at night. It's the way it goes. And so Hashkivenu is only a prayer we say at night, and it's meant to help us feel safe and calm and protected when we aren't there. So even just for a moment as we sing these words, let's try and tap into how that feels. Page 160. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim.
Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
Baruch atah Adonai, Porei Sukat Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people, Israel, and over Jerusalem. We take that sense of security that Shabbat can bring us, and we allow it to lift us up into a place of Shabbat joy and celebrating the fact that we have this moment in time every week to take a moment and reflect and stop the noise for just a little bit. That should bring us joy that we have this opportunity. So page 162, we sing Yismechu. Yismechu.
Yes.
We sing Yismechu, an expression of our Shabbat joy and celebration.
Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekorei Oneg Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekorei Oneg Shabbat Aha Mikadshei Mikadshei Shivi Shabbat Kulam yisbe'u v'yitangu mituvecha Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekorei Oneg Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekorei Oneg Shabbat V'hashvi'i ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat Chemnad yamim Oto karata Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekorei Oneg Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekorei Oneg Shabbat Zecher למעשה בראשית שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת בקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת בקורא עונג שבת.
Page 164, we have our Amidah, the central section of our prayers, and we'll chant the first few prayers together, first few blessings, and then we take a moment for silent prayer, and that may be different than what you did last Shabbat and different than what you do next Shabbat. It may be that you read the words on the page. It may be that you close your prayer book or X out of that tab on your computer and leave those words. You take a quiet moment, take a quiet conversation with God, quiet conversation with whoever out there you need to talk to. In Zoom land, my practice has become to walk out of this space with the intention that you can have a quiet moment at the ark. There's no one here to interrupt it. You are standing before the ark, standing before God. This is your time and your space to choose what you want to do with it this evening. So we rise, if you're able, on page 164.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך נמית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללו חסלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. יחיו לרצון אמרפי מרפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. יחיו לרצון אמרפי מרפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri vegoali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri vegoali. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, ya la lai, ya lai lai, yai lai lai, ya lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, yai lai lai.
On page 371, we have our prayer for healing. And we're going to talk about this in just a little bit. But we don't have any evidence that prayer can do things. If we're looking for empirical evidence, we're not going to find it. We don't have any evidence that prayer can cure cancer and that prayer can mend a broken bone. But what we do know is that praying for people can help lift them up. And whether we pray for healing of their bodies, which we may or may not have any control over, we can pray for the uplifting of their spirits and to help them get to a better place to be able to deal with all of the physical things that may be going on. It's important that we always remember to pray for people's spirits as well as their bodies, thinking about people in our world who aren't just struggling physically, but who are struggling with the emotional parts of living, and maybe that goes along with something physical, and maybe it's altogether unrelated. But those are people who need our prayers too, and we can maybe comfort with our prayers. So if you have names that of people you're thinking about tonight, I'm going to read our list here from Sinai. And if you're at home on StreamSpot or YouTube now, say them aloud, please. If you're on Facebook, you can type them to us, and I'll read them aloud here. This Shabbat, we're thinking about Ryan Alpert, Mike Babbage, Stan and Sandra Bauer, Andy Bean, Emily Bellstock, Samantha Bernstein, Paul Bonilla, Steve Buckham, Arlene and Sydney Brandt, Harold Cohen, Joseph Michael Connor, Cindy Coons, Frank and Aaron DeSiena, Jay Dworkin, Marty Einhorn, Ron Epstein, Ellen Falk, Stan Farber, Jack Fisher, Kelly Gates, Morris Ginsburg, Wendy Glasser, Marlene Gittleman, Marcia Gold, Ellen and Erica Gulnick, Cheryl Goodman, Lois Haas, Jerry Hart, Miriam Hoopman, Cassidy Impink, Oliver Jack, Marilyn Jordan, Stephen Koffler, Lori Lavenhar, Fred and Judith Lazar, Audrey and Larry Lazar, Adrian Levy, Juanito Lorenco, Dina Marks, Marianne May, Hugh Miles, Nivette Montgomery, Diane Cushman-Neal, Raphael Ben Reuven of Fega, Bernie Rogoff, Alan Rosenberg, Donna Santa-Stephen, Diana Sevilla, Brad Schneider, John Schuler, Ed Schultz, Daniel and Callista Schwartz, Raj Schwartz, Doris Schwartzberg, Norm Sheldon, Joshua Singer, Carol Snoddy, Mark Sorkin, Sheldon Sperling, Ed Steinberg, Betty Stone, Barbara Susan, Yona Victor, Marlene Waldbaum, Jim Walker, Valerie Wasserman, Dorothy Y., Joe Wicklins, Esther Jenkinson, Aidan Zenon, Lisa S. and Teresa R., Jim and Marsha Waller, Bill, Eric Levine, Lamb, Greg S. and Rick L. I'll add Zohara Miller and Julie Fisher. And anyone else in our world who could use our goodwill coming out to them, we pray for them. Page 371, Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor
This month, February, is Jewish Disability Awareness and Inclusion Month. And this Shabbat, we are celebrating this special month. I spent a lot of time thinking about how to speak tonight. I didn't want to speak in cliches. And as someone without a disability, I didn't want to speak as though this is my story or my experience. So I reached out to someone in our extended Sinai community to help educate me. She's a young Jewish woman in her 20s who identifies as having a disability. And I asked her, what would you want to hear from the Bima? What would you be proud to hear your rabbi say? What do you think this space should be used for? It was a powerful conversation, had over long text messages frantically typed with clumsy thumbs. First, we talked about the Jewish view of our bodies, our physical forms, and how those views can support those with disabilities. Judaism fundamentally believes we were created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. In Genesis we read, Vayivra Elohim et Adam b'tzalmo, b'tselem Elohim bara oto. And God made the man in God's image. In the image of God, he created him. We were created in God's image, and therefore, we are beautiful and holy as we are, each of us individually. Being created b'tselem Elohim also means we have a responsibility to respect our bodies, to do our best to take care of them and fuel them, to find gratitude for everything our physical forms do for us. This doesn't mean we can't have anger or frustration with our bodies when things go wrong, when we find limitations, when the randomness of our genetic makeup brings challenges to our lives, when our bodies and abilities change over time. We get to be angry and we get to be frustrated. And being created b'tselem Elohim means that we continue to work to find gratitude for what our bodies can do. That the signals are able to fire to our brains to allow us to feel that anger. That our lungs fill with air to let us yell in frustration. Our relationships with our bodies are complicated, sometimes all the more so if you're someone with a disability. Our Jewish tradition is there to help us embrace that complexity. In our conversation, this young woman shared that she feels like her Jewish identity and her identity as a disabled woman exist separately. That she has at times felt like being disabled meant she had less room in her Jewish spaces. That she's felt self-conscious about being in Jewish buildings with her fully licensed service dog, our building, Temple Sinai included. We talked about where this comes from, and she opened my eyes to a really important distinction, and I hope that her words will help open your eyes as well. When we pray the Misha Berach, our prayer for healing, as we just did, we of course do so out of a place of good intention and good wishes. And it's important that we evaluate how and why we are praying for someone. When a friend breaks a leg, when a family member is in the hospital or recovering from surgery, we pray for them in the hopes that they will find healing. But if we pray for healing for someone who's disabled, what we are doing, though perhaps unintentionally, is saying that they are somehow broken. When we say we hope they will be healed, we're saying we hope they will be fixed, literally fixed. As this young woman explained to me, I'm never going to be healed, and in a way, that's denial. She feels that while Judaism has left her more space to feel whole in the way that she is, as opposed to other religions where her disabled friends feel they aren't accepted because of their disabilities, that they aren't enough or complete, or that something needs to change within them, the disability community teaches us that praying for someone who will always be sick or for someone who has a disability that will not change can feel like a denial and a rejection of their identity. She reflected that once in college, a friend shared her name out loud for Misha Berach without her permission. She was incredibly uncomfortable, feeling like everyone was looking at her wondering, what's wrong with her now? Even when our intentions are good, we have a responsibility to evaluate our practice, to question if we're doing this for ourselves or for others, and if we have the best interest, the wishes and desires of the other people at heart. I want to offer one final reflection from this beautiful conversation, something that I will certainly carry with me and hope that you will carry with you. This young woman who has hearing loss shared with me that what she learned last summer from a rabbi who spoke as a part of a disability justice seminar. This rabbi was talking about Jewish views of the afterlife and the ways our views differ from other religions. Jewish conceptions of a heavenly realm are complex. They leave room for interpretation and personal views, whereas other religions often have narrower definitions of heaven. In other iterations, heaven is seen as a perfect place where you are healed of any illness and disability. However, as this rabbi explained, through a Jewish lens, the perspective is flipped. It's not that in heaven she'll be able to hear, but rather, God will just know sign language. It's not that in heaven she'll be able to hear, but in heaven God and maybe everyone will just know sign language. The ideal situation, the goal, the dream, the heavenly aspiration is not about fixing or healing the person. It's about fixing and healing the world around them. We, as Jews who believe in building a better world, who believe in tikkun olam, repairing what is broken around us, have a responsibility to do better, to respect those with disabilities, to do what we can to make them feel included and make them feel seen. We have a responsibility to educate ourselves and to understand more than the generation before us did, teaching our children to seek to understand more than we do. We aren't looking to fix or heal disabilities. We're looking to make our world a better place to live as a person with a disability. May we have the strength and the courage to make these changes. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. We begin the conclusion of our service on page 586. We rise, if you're able, for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, Lateit Gdula L'Yotzer Bereshit, Shelo Asanu Kikriye Had Ratzon, Velo Samanu Ki Mishpechot HaAdama, Shelo Sam Chalkeinu Kahem, Vego Aleinu Kechol Hamonam, Va'anachnu Korim, Umishtachavim Umodim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech HaKol Haaretz, Bayom Hahu, Yeh Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad.
Please be seated if you're standing. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This Shabbat, we are in the Shiva, the 7 days of mourning for Patricia Kessy, the mother of Ellen Moeller, for Judy Landsberg-Loscher, sister of Andy Forlina and the aunt of Abby, for Sherry Roth, the sister of Andy and Cindy Pollitt. We're in the Shilashim, the 30 days of mourning for Sarah Fishbein, the daughter of Goldie and the mother of Chloe, for Loris Dorothy Goldberg, the mother of Karen and Jeffrey, grandmother of Noah, Lila, and the late Zachary, for Terry Rosenfeld, the sister-in-law of Dr. Edward and Debbie Rosenfeld, for Alan Stephen Salzman, father of Beth and Jason, grandfather of Emma and Maya, and for Ed Stoddard, the father of Rachel and Dr. Michael Anger, the grandfather of Matthew, Eric, Emily, and Max. I'm going to read our yahrzeit list, the anniversaries of the passings of our loved ones. If you have a name you'd like to add, please say aloud at home, or if you type it on Facebook, I will read it aloud here. This Shabbat, we're remembering Charles Bauer, Merwin Brodsky, Ann Brooks, Estelle Cole, Carol Davis, Morris Eber, Richard Eber, Nathan Eisner, Dr. Joseph Epel, Dina Flax, Margaret Fleet, Martin Flug, Ida Fogel, Florence Galperin, Joseph Ginsburg, Claire Kern, Goldfarb, Stanley Goldstein, Yale W. Gottsteiner, Aaron Gottlieb, Sidney Grazi, George Grund, Roland He, Harry Caller, Eugene J. Kelly, Dorothy Landerson, Jack Levitt, Donna Licht, Adrian Mantis, Harriet Marcus Davis, Harold Markman, Samuel Joseph Masarski, Sarah Meltziner, Howard Monblatt, Judy Montgomery, Robert Pizik, Ethel Plotkin, June Mildred Powell, William Preblood, Edith Rogoff-Kreis, Norman Schlossberg, Lillian Schwartz, Daniel Seltzer, Oleg Shapiro, Annie Sharon, Howard Steinberg, Max Stoller, Miriam Stone, Perry Streer, Floyd Vest, and we'll add Lillian Turkowitz. In respect for all of their memories, we rise, if you're able, page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shmei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach rutei v'yamlich malchutei, Morris Davis, V'chayechon uvyomechon, ufchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olmei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Dekudesha B'richu Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. We say Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated if you're standing. Tomorrow morning, we will continue to celebrate Shabbat together at 9 a.m. with the whole crew. To be Rabbi Ryan's, Dan, and myself. We have 3 Torah portions to read tomorrow morning, and you can spend the evening trying to guess why there are 3. We'll give you the answer in the morning. So we'll be reading lots of Torah in the morning. It'll be beautiful. And tomorrow night, we'll have Havdalah at 7 p.m. with Rabbi Ryan's. All of your regularly scheduled programming coming this week, including Hamantash and baking class Monday night with me at 6:30. If you want to register, you can register through the website to be able to get that link. We are really excited. There are so many of you registered. It's going to be a really good time, and it's the precursor to our Hamantash and contest, which we can talk more about. You can enter photos, and we're going to have a big Facebook voting to win the best looking Hamantashen of 2021. So stay tuned. More Purim celebrations coming. Purim is around the corner. It's hard to believe. We're going to have a Megillah reading. We're having a comedian who's very funny, as comedians should be. All kinds of celebrations. So please watch your emails. Check out the website for all the exciting things that are coming and that we are doing to celebrate life. So with that, we are going to press pause on our Shabbat experience together with our closing song.
Oh, say shalom.
Oh, say shalom.
Oh, say shalom. Bimroma. Oh, say shalom. Bimroma. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Bimroma. Oh, say shalom. Bimroma. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Aleinu.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.